Hello, here we are for our third video and our second video in the series concerning list pages and personalization of those list pages. So let's begin. Just like we did last week, we're going to start with all purchase requisitions as our example. And as you can see, as I began typing, all purchase requisitions populated. So I'm going to go ahead and select it. As a quick recap, here we are. The list pages are in column or fashion, and at the very top, we have our different titles for each of those columns. So one of the nice things that we can do is we can group a column. So for example, here with status, again, as you can tell that I'm on the status column because it's grayed out. I can right-click my mouse and a second box appears. And I want to now group my purchase requisitions by this column. So I come down here second from the bottom, and I can group purchase requisitions based on their status. So now, as you can see, it is now the system has updated. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to add a filter so that we are only looking at current 2020 data. Okay, so there you go. So as you can see, our purchase requisitions are now grouped based on data. And as we get up to the top, a lot of closed purchase requisitions. If you get here to the very top, as you can see, it is showing that we have 888 in closed status. If you continue and review, again, in review, it's showing that we have 72 in the current status. So this is just a nice way. As an employee, I may want to be able to see purchase requisitions that may still be in draft form or may be in review. Or as a supervisor, I may want to group my columns based on the prepare. So if I wanted to say ungroup the status, I could come in here, right click, down here second from the bottom, it says ungroup. I would left click. I have now ungrouped it based on that data. I'm going to come over here to prepare. As I said, I might be a supervisor. I can then group by this column. And as you can see, the data is now grouped based on the prepare of that purchase requisition. So again, as a supervisor, this might be a very quick way for me to separate work by my employees so that I could have a quick visual on how they are doing. Which is nice. Again, I could come up here to prepare and I could ungroup. Again, a nice thing, you know, Microsoft gives us this generic set of data that's populated. Maybe I don't need to see all this data. For example, for requisition purpose, maybe I don't need to see what that requisition purpose is. So I can come up here, highlight the column for requisition purpose. And then again, I can right click and I can come in here and select hide this column. So then I, excuse me, I would right click. And as you can see, that data has then disappeared. Just as I can hide a column, I could come up here. This portion doesn't really matter which column you choose. You just want to highlight a column. Again, I can right click, and just as I can hide a column, I can actually add columns as well. So let's say there's some different data that I need to look at that's important to my day-to-day activities. So once I selected add a column, I get this other box that populates with these different options of data that I could then insert into my list pages. Just as any other column, I can come in here, I can filter a field if I can't find what I'm looking for. Again, I have this drop down. I can choose, I can sort, just like you can do with any other column. So let's say I want to come in and I want to know the reason of the purchase requisition. And then let's say I want to know the accounting date. So I'm going to make these two selections. You just check mark the box next to it. You come down here to the very bottom right of your screen where it says insert. It's this beautiful little green color. You would select insert. And then as you can see, accounting date and reason code have now been added. For some reason, the data does not populate immediately. You can come to this top right corner here. There's this nice little circle with an arrow that is a page refresh. You can come in and you can select that page refresh, and then that data would populate. So again, a nice, easy way. If for some reason I wanted to remove something, again, I could just come up here. I could add columns. Let's say I didn't need to look at the reason code. I could just, again, check that box. It unselects it, and I could select insert, and then the reason for that purchase requisition is no longer available. As I stated last week, you can come in through here and we can sort each of these columns or filter these columns. Another good way is this filter pane right here. You have this nice little filter icon. If I select that filter, it will expand. I can select it again and minimize it. This is a nice feature because it will show you all the different columns which you might have a filter on. So for example, I've already added a filter date or a filter to the created date. So it's showing me that there is a filter on that column. Whereas otherwise, all I have is this little filter icon that shows me that there's a filter on that column, but I may not know what the filter is. So it makes it a little difficult. Whereas I can come over here, and if I have my filter pane expanded, I know exactly what columns are filtered, and I know what information they're filtering by. Let's say I want to filter something else. So again, I can come up here to this add plus button, left click, and again, that secondary box now populates. Let's say, as in the prior example, the last video, I want, as a supervisor, I just want to look at my employees. I don't need to look at everybody's purchase requisition. I'm going to come down here to prepare. I'm going to do is one of, because I want to put multiple. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to type my employees. Now, when you type this in, you're going to want to put a comma and then a space in between your employees. So once you're done, I select apply, and as you can see, the 3 employees which I am interested in, I just select apply again, and now here is my data that I'm looking for. So I have all purchase requisitions that have been created after February 2nd of this year, and I only want to look at my employees. So here I am. I'm only looking at my employees and the purchase requisitions. Here's one still in draft form. The other ones are closed. Again, just a very nice visual. If I don't want to have this filter pane maximized like this all the time, again, I can just come over here and I can select that filter pane and then do a quick minimization of that so that I can see my data better. Let's say that this is something that I need on a day-to-day basis. I always need to look at this particular setup. So instead of every day coming into work and having to recreate the wheel and set filters and build my list page, I can come up here to where it says standard view. I can select this drop down, and then I have the option, I can come down here and I can save this. So for example, I want to save this view and I want to call it my employees, my staff. I'll do my staff if you want to, whatever your description may be, purchase requisitions for my employees, just for a quick visual. You can also pin this as your default view, meaning that if this is pinned as your default view, that every time you open the purchase requisitions, this is the view that you're going to see. So as a supervisor, again, I don't need to look at all purchase requisitions that have been completed through the City of Columbus. I just want to look at my employees. So I'm going to pin this as my default view. And then I'm going to come down here to the bottom right, and I'm going to select Save. So then here, every time I open this up, this is the page and this is the format in which I am going to see it. I can have several saved pages. For example, I have saved a purchase requisitions that has a status of draft. I have one that's purchase requisitions with a status of in review. So these are all items and these are all list pages that I have added filters and made selections that I would want to look. So if, for example, I wanted to come in and look at purchase requisitions with the status of in review, here I am. I just go ahead and select that drop down, and then I can, I can have as many as I would like. It makes it very easy. If you want to go back to the standard view and look at all purchase requisitions, you can do that. You can look at any of your saved views. If you have one that you look at more so than not, again, you can pin that as your default. And so therefore, every time you open up this list page, your default view is going to be the first view that you see. So very, very nice things that you can do to just save your data. So again, you are not recreating the wheel. You also have this quick filter pane. If I want to come in here and start looking, I can type in a name, for example. So the default is the prepare. So again, I may want to look at something different, but for this example, I am looking for purchase requisitions that were created by this prepare, so that I'm going to go ahead and select that. And then again, all purchase requisitions for that prepare will populate. Let's say I can come back, I can reset. I want to come back and look at, let's say, if there's anything, let's do something like electronics. It's giving me the prepare, but I don't want the prepare, I want the name. We don't have anything. So let's pick something. We'll type in copier. And so again, we're going to pick name. So anything with the name copier in it, it's going to then populate. I hope you liked your third video. And again, the second video for list pages. We have one more video with some cool things to show you with list pages. And hope you're enjoying the videos. Thank you.